Whoa, peace, beloved, peace. It's your homie, Young Content, the unofficial sensei of the culture, mastering youthfulness, contentment, NFTs. You're in the dojo for episode 110. Cue the sound. Welcome to the dojo. You already know what it is. Everything is fine. Lauren Thornton is fine. We're going to go to her very soon. I just wanted to get the chat in here. I played that last playlist earlier. I feel like I want to play something different. Maybe the chat can interact. Hello. Let me see if this chat is working. Hello. Boom. Chat is working. Peace. How's your mind? How's your energy? We just had, I was saying the name the whole time wrong. Cropopolis, which is Fox's new flagship cartoon on the blockchain that's coming out in 2023. You already know this is Dojo doubleheader weekend. We got Sergio and Serge in the building, aka NFT Spaces. And good to see you, Serge. I think it's the first time I've seen you in the chat. You know, Lauren's a legend. In the title, as you see, Lauren is APO. APO stands for what?
Alpha plays only.
Alpha plays only. We're gonna get her story. We're gonna get what she loves to do, what she's doing in the space. So yeah, Young, stop talking. We only got a limited time with Lauren, and this is a precious moment. So without further ado, let's get right into it. What's going on?
I'm so excited to be here and connect with you in this format. We've had the honor of connecting with each other IRL at in real life events, and it's so great to be able to meet people in person and then to continue the relationship online, especially on this crazy journey that we're on here in Web3.
Yes, you definitely been on the hit list in the most respectful way. So this is episode 110. We've interviewed a lot of legends, and we believe that you're one of them. Rising up these ranks, you're still here building in a bear market. You run an awesome community. For those that don't know who LT is, can I call you LT? Maybe not. Tell them the spiel.
Absolutely. So greetings, my name is Lauren Turton. You can go ahead and call me LT. That's one of my old school nicknames from childhood, so I really appreciate that. I've been in the Web3 space for about a year now. I discovered NFTs last summer and I said, wait a minute, this is the next shift in technology. This is the next change. This is what I've been looking for years. Because I remember when the internet came out, 8 years old, 1994, my parents got the big white box computer. And I didn't know to do anything more with that computer than play a game here or there after school. And then when social media started to roll out, I didn't know what to do with it except post pictures of my food. Very lame if you scroll through my Facebook status history. I didn't know what to do with it. Eventually, I caught on and started leveraging Instagram when I used to have a business coaching company to let people know what I was up to with social media. But again, I wasn't at the forefront of it. I was behind the times. So for many years, I said to myself, there's going to be a shift. There's going to be a change. And Lauren, guess what? You are not going to miss it. So when I found about NFTs last summer, I said, hey, this is what you've been looking for. This is it. So like most people do, I went deep down that rabbit hole and things actually got a little bit dark, a little bit weird because I thought I had to become a coder. I thought I had to become a developer, and those are not in my skill sets. Not at all. Eventually, I pulled myself out of that rabbit hole and I said, Lauren, what are some of your natural gifts, your natural talents? How do you like to show up in the world? And some of my favorite things that I had from my business coaching company were connecting with others, creating community, public speaking. Obviously, I like to talk. And so I did some research and I said, what are the podcasts that are out right now? What's happening in the podcast world? Now, mind you, I didn't have any experience as a podcaster, but I said, I can do that. I can figure that out. And at the time, there weren't that many podcasts out about NFTs. And there weren't many female voices in the NFT podcast space. So I said, you know what? I'm asking all of these questions anyway. Why don't I start recording this content? And that's how the Freedom with NFTs podcast was born. And since we launched late last September, we've released over 30 episodes. I've been able to interview incredible people like Gary Vaynerchuk and cover topics within the space that I had a hard time finding the answer to. Now, I'm a little detective over here. So when I want to find the answer to something, you better believe I'm going to find it. But I had a hard time finding answers about law, taxes, and things in that nature. So I made sure in the beginning episodes to cover those topics so that people who were new to the space like me would have resources as they started to navigate the space. So that's something that I've done in the Web3 space, is create the brand freedom with NFTs. And what's come with that is blog articles, email blasts, a community. I do live trainings every Wednesday at 1 p.m. to answer questions that I might know the answer to, or to connect my community members with others that can support them on their journey.
I love that. Literally, freedom in NFTs. You know, when I met Lauren in San Diego Con, probably one of the best dressed there. Definitely stood out. Really great educator. And I was like, okay, that person's going somewhere. When you said you went down the, you said something very important. When I was a kid too, I only used the computer for a game. Like, I didn't even think. I feel like my teachers failed me or something. I feel like there was no information. There was nothing out there that I don't know why I missed it. And going back full circle now that I'm, 30 years old or whatever, this has become my life. It's just, I feel like it was always right in front of me. Did you always feel that? It was always underneath your nose?
It was always right there, but like you said, nobody properly taught me or educated me on the importance of learning about technology and how to leverage and use it in your life. So it wasn't something that was a part of my life really until my mid-30s. I'm 36 now. And when I look back on the times in my life that I was struggling multiple jobs at a time to get by, things like that, I was like, if I would have just known that I could have done this, if I would have just been educated on this, my life could have changed in a drastic way much quicker than it did. So that's one of the reasons why I feel the calling to help educate others on the importance of technology, building community, connecting with others, because I want more people to change their lives. I want more people to get informed and get involved and to get curious about what's going on in the world, and to realize that we can create new realities in our lives. We can create new revenue streams. We can create new opportunities, but we have to get informed and we have to get involved.
Do you feel like if you were deep into the coding life, I feel like you didn't have to be in the coding life because you're a well-balanced human. Do you feel like if you were deep into the coding life, you would have not been this bright, outgoing thing? I feel like there was a reason for it. You know what I mean?
And you know what's interesting about that is my younger brother, he's a gamer. And so I grew up with someone who's a gamer and who's on that side of the tech world, right? And I do not have 1 ounce of that in my being to be able to focus on things like that. And also numbers, spreadsheets, things of that nature for me are very, very overwhelming, very confusing. Sometimes people ask me, Lauren, you do it all. I'm like, no, I don't do it all. I'm very aware of what I'm good at and what I'm not good at. And I like to share with people that I'm not skilled in the coding world, and that's okay. And the reason why that's okay is because everyone's needed in the technology space. And for me, my life experiences have allowed me to be outgoing, bubbly. I was in the restaurant industry for many years and event production for many years. Shout out to the
service industry. Holy smokes. Standing on your feet all day, every day. Wow.
That was my life for many, many years. And a lot of those skill sets that I had from that time period are actually being amplified now as a public speaker, as a community builder, as a content creator, as a connector. And so if I would have gone down a different route in my life, you're right, I wouldn't be who I am today. And who I am today is someone that wants everyone to tap into what their innate gifts and talents are and to amplify those, because we need you, the technology industry needs you, Web3 needs you, NFT needs you.
For sure. Would guys soak that in, okay? That's Alpha Plays Only. Do you know what APO? I already said it. I just played the sound bite. I do have a full soundboard here, so if you can't hear it, the chat can. Kelsey White throwing hearts. Kelsey White says, I don't think teachers really know enough about it to teach it most places. Well, back in that day, they were saying the internet was the devil and scary and this, that, the third. We really didn't use the text messages. I literally had a person on my show saying that Ryan Seacrest, this is what Fox says, Ryan Seacrest allowed us to text during American Idol when people weren't texting. Remember that shows where you text through the phone to vote and stuff? Very foreign stuff. What is the biggest learning curve you've been finding out there and trying to help people? I mean, everyone says you need to onboard people in NFTs, but does onboarding have to come with something else so they can stick around? You know?
So something that I've found during my time that has been a challenge is I am a multi-passionate person and I'm interested in so many things. And so I can find myself going in so many different directions without having grounding to what it is that I'm doing. And that's something over the years that I've learned to rein in so that I can just stay in my lane. Yes, of course, learning other things, but really just staying in my lane and saying, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm good at. This is what I excel at, and just amplifying that. That way I don't get distracted and I'm not all over the place, because when you're all over the place, you have leaky energy, and leaky energy doesn't get results. And so I want to make sure that I'm focused, I'm staying in my lane. So one of the ways that I allow myself to do that is by recalibrating and taking time to reflect and project on what it is that I'm doing, that I'm working on, to making sure that I am staying in my lane. For example, here in the Web3 space, I've found myself a few times spread too thin when I haven't stayed in my lane. When I've said, yeah, I'll help with this project, or yes, I'll do this, or yes, I'll do that. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I just spent 20 hours doing what? No, Lauren, go back to what you said you were going to do. You wanted to be a podcaster, someone that interviewed other people in the space. Like, stay in your lane, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. So for anyone that might feel the same and resonate with this, really just dive into your innate gifts, your skills, your talents, and work on amplifying those, and then staying in your lane and making sure that you're working towards what your mission is, understanding what your big why is. Why are you here? Why are you doing this? And just keep going for it. Just keep pushing through.
I love that. Keep pushing through. This is the way.
This is the way.
Cue the Mandalorian sound effect. This is the way, indeed. What was a young Lauren like? I know. Were you father and mom in the tech world? Were you scared of Y2K? What was that whole young Lauren process like?
This is such a great question. So I'm from the suburbs of Dayton, Ohio. And when I was 8 years old, my parents became whitewater rafting guides.
Wow.
They work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 in the suburbs of Dayton, Ohio. My dad was in the road construction industry. My mom was a dental hygienist. And then my dad's younger brother was a whitewater rafting guide. So I was 8, my brother was 5, and my dad said to my mom, let's become whitewater rafting guides. Now this is in Fayetteville, West Virginia, which is a 4.5-hour drive from where I grew up. So every weekend we started going to West Virginia so that my parents could work on the river. During this time period, I asked my mom for money for a candy bar. My mom was like, no, I'm not gonna give you money for that. We feed you 3 good meals a day plus the snacks that we provide. I'm not gonna give you money for a candy bar. Figure out how to buy a candy bar on your own. And 8-year-old Lauren didn't have any money. And so she figured it out. And so what I did is I found someone with a skill set that I didn't have, which was the girlfriend of a whitewater rafting guide who was making hemp necklaces and bracelets. And I asked her, I was like, can you teach me how to do this? She was like, yeah, absolutely. So she was, making hemp bracelets all day, hanging out at camp, teaching little 8-year-old how to do it. And pretty soon I'd gotten really good at making the necklaces and bracelets. So I started selling them to my parents' friends. And then from there, I was like, well, how can I take this to the next level? They had a gift shop. So I went to the manager of the gift shop and I was like, Miss Karen, can I please set up my necklaces and bracelets on a stand and sell them to the customers? And she said yes. And that was the first time that I made money on my own. And yeah, it was because my mom prompted me and pushed me to figure it out and do it. But I had that in me to figure it out, how to make money. So that's what I was doing when I was 8 years old. I was playing out in the woods of West Virginia, making hemp necklaces and bracelets, selling them to my parents' friends. And I didn't grow up with technology. My dad was in road construction. My mom was a dental hygienist. I did mention earlier, my younger brother, he was a gamer. So I did see that side of the world. Oh, there are people who do this. This isn't my thing, but I get it. My brother and all his friends are gamers. That's cool.
Wow. Sweet. So you had a little bit of the viewpoint of degeneracy. I think we all did. You know, the fashion, the punk culture, just that whole culture had a bunch of. I mean, as much as degen is like a tough word, but you know, it's the internet world. We'll figure it out. Figure that out. What is what are some of the NFTs that you like, or are you a collector? Do you like to collect? Any alpha you can give us on some of these podcasts? All these people you talk to. I know you had Spotty Wi-Fi on. What's the word on the streets to you in your perspective?
So my journey as an NFT collector has been pretty easy going, pretty simple. I was gifted my first NFT by Happy Land Gummy Bears. I had posted on Instagram when I first found out about NFTs, and I like hashtag NFTs on a story, and then Happy Land Gummy Bears reached out to me and they're like, hey, we'd love to gift you an NFT. I was like, what does this mean? What is the story? So then from there, I got onboarded into their Discord, and I was like, what's Discord? Let me figure this out. That's when I first learned about community with NFTs. And I really saw what Happy Land Gummy Bears had created. And I was like, oh, this is really incredible. I'm going to keep figuring this stuff out. Some of the NFTs that I've collected since then have been Boss Beauties, Fame Lady Squad. I love both of those projects. I think they're incredible what they do for women. And I also have collected NFTs from different community members of mine because I want to support them and their artwork. I did get in on VeeFriends too when Gary Vee had the book drop last summer. I was like, yep, buying a bunch of books. And so that's been kind of my journey in regards to, you know, investing in NFTs, collecting NFTs. I have taken a break the last couple of months.
Touching grass, for sure.
Yeah, I've been like slowing my roll on some things in the space because I realized that I was getting burnt out. And so I have not been looking the last couple of months at new projects, etc. I will say that I recently invested in the Calibration Room. And the Calibration Room is run by an incredible woman. Her name is Caitlin. She goes by, I think, NFT Caitlin. She's a marketing expert, and she created a space for women to come together in like a mastermind style group. And so I definitely got one of those NFTs because a lot of my community members were getting them. And I was like, yes, I want to connect with women at a higher level and get access to what it is that she's created. So I would say that right now, I guess I don't have any alpha in regards to what's going on in regards to NFT collections, except for what Caitlin is doing with the Calibration Room.
So this Calibration Room is like a think tank of like some powerful people, and you guys collaborate IRL or just through supporting each other's Web3 NFT journey?
So far, it's been group mastermind style calls, and there are plans for us to be meeting in person together for retreats and events like that.
Sweet. You had a chance to meet Gary Vee. What is he like in person? Is he cool?
Let me share the journey that I went on to get that interview with him. So back in the fall of last year, when I used to co-own a restaurant in San Diego called Chow Chow Piadina, myself and an incredible woman in the space named Valerie VDizzle777, we created a customer loyalty program for the restaurant that leveraged POAPs and NFTs. We dropped this event on the last Sunday of October, and we had 30 people come to an IRL event. And I said, get your phones out, get on Twitter, tweet at Gary Vee, at Chow Chow Piadina with Lauren Turton in San Diego, customer loyalty program for a restaurant. And about 30 people tweeted this to him. He didn't engage in it, but still 30 people. He was in San Diego in the fall of last year speaking at a real estate conference, and I dropped everything that day when I found out he was speaking, and I busted my butt to get to that conference, and I'm tweeting to him saying, Gary, I know it's a real estate conference, but you have people who are in the NFT space here. We're here. And he's tweeting me from backstage. So look at this from brand recognition point of view. At this point in time, he's had 30 people tweet him with my name associated with it. I'm tweeting him with my name associating with it. And at some point, he also retweeted something that I had put out on Twitter, and it blew up. So he's seen my name a few times at this point, right? So now I'm prepping for NFT NYC, and I see before NFT NYC was an event called 321 Blast Off, and Gary was the main speaker. Tickets were $175, and it was the Monday before NFT NYC in 2021. So I bought a ticket for that event, and I told myself, you need to get to this event at least an hour early, so you're the first person in line. So you better believe I get to that event an hour early. I'm like the 5th person in line, like the 3rd person to register. And I go into the space where he's going to be speaking. I go up to the front row, put my backpack down. And at this point in time, people are starting to come into the event, and they're all starting to chit chat with each other. And I was like, no, I can't talk to people right now, because I wanted to focus on the 2 points of entry. So I stood there in the middle of these 2 points of entry, and I said, Gary Vee is going to walk into one of these doors when he enters this space. There's no other way he can get into this room right now. I stood there, and people would come and talk to me, and I can't talk right now. I'm focused. And I just stood there, and I waited, and I waited, and I waited. Sure enough, he walked in one of the doors, and I beelined it over to him. Hi, Gary. I'm Lauren Turton. And I had in my mind what I was going to say to him to request interviewing him for the Freedom with NFTs podcast. And he looked at me, gave me a big hug. He goes, oh, Lauren, we're good. I know exactly who you are. You created the customer loyalty program at your restaurant in San Diego. You've got a podcast. And in that moment, I was like, like the nerves started to hit. I lost what I was going to say. I started to get flustered because I didn't expect him to know who I was. Now let's rewind. It's because of the work that I did previous, and there was a little bit of that brand recognition in there with my name. So then I got it together, and I said, Gary, may I please have 3 minutes of your time to interview you for the Freedom with NFTs podcast after your talk today? He said, yeah, absolutely, Lauren, we're good. So then he does his talk, and as he's wrapping up the talk, I see and feel the energy in the room shifting. Everyone's about to bombard the stage to get a photo with him. So I have my backpack ready. I have my little baby microphone with like my selfie stick ready. And I catapult my body to the stage and I say, Gary, podcast. And he looked at the room and he said, everyone, give me 5 minutes. I'll be back in 5 minutes. We walked into the hallway. He gave me a hug and he was like, I'm so excited about this interview. I get my equipment out. Guess whose equipment wasn't charged? Me.
Damn it.
And I start to panic. And he looks at me, he's like, Lauren, everything's fine. D-Rock, film everything, get this content to Lauren as soon as you can. And then again, I got it together. And then I went bum, 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 bum with the 5 questions that I had been rehearsing, nailed the interview. And then he went off into the crowd and got pictures. He is as genuine and kind in person as he is online. You know, when you're interacting with people, you see celebrities or known people, this and that, and then you meet them in person and you're let down.
Yeah.
None of that with him. In fact, he exceeded what I thought he would in regards to knowing who I was up to, and just being so kind with me in the moment. Really, really happy with the experience I had. And it was a game changer for me to get that interview with him.
Yeah, Gary definitely shows you that you got to take time with people. You gotta, the whole Web 2 worshiping celebrity culture, that is dead. And it's nice to see an evolved form of that culture changing with us. I'm pretty sure you have a lot of instilled knowledge through that interaction. You recently held a community space in New York City, and I'm pretty sure you have to give everyone your individual attention. Do you ever get burned out with that? What's your process like? I mean, you got a community of solid 200, 300 people?
You know, that's such a great question. The process of being, a forward-facing person, because there is a process with that. And in the space right now, how you see me, I'm outgoing. I might be a little dramatic, over the top. When you see me at events, I'm full force, I'm on, right? But when I walk out of those spaces, my energy levels are low. I sleep a lot. I have really strict boundaries in regards to how much I interact with people online, how much time I spend online. And because I really take the time to have this balance in my life, it allows me to show up at 100% when I am in person. For anyone that might be shy or not as outgoing as someone like me, but would like to figure out, hey, how do I do that? You can practice. And this is what I used to do. Practice in the mirror. Practice what it is that you're going to say, how you're going to interact with people, and get comfortable doing mirror work. Also, getting really comfortable on camera is also practice. If you watch my TikToks, it might look like, oh, hey, she's really comfortable on camera. No, it's just because I practiced a few times before I hit record and before I distributed that content. So just practice, 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 even practice conversations. When I used to be in the event production world, we would get a sheet that had all of the major players that were going to be attending that event. And we would have little bullet points of what was going on with that person. So in the moment, when I saw someone, I would be able to say to them, hello, Mrs. Da-da-da, how are you? I see that you've been working on da-da-da-da-da. And then we're able to flow in a conversation. And that's something that you can do when you know you're going to an event, is you can look at who's going to be at the event, who's attending, what's going on with those people, and just get comfortable with what it is you're going to say with others.
Every time I talk to the mirror, it cracks. So I don't know if that's working for me, Lauren. Orphans Addict says double header. Yes, this is Dojo double header. This is our second show. We normally do one show. Kelsey White says so well spoken. Laura Zombie says, Lauren, wow, wonderful energy and beautiful smile and electric intelligence, love and admiration. Lauren always crushing it. Drew Dan Zian says, do you I feel like you're naturally gifted at that. You said something about sleep. I think I slept like 15 hours today. It was very unhealthy. But yeah, there's I'm all about, you know, the balance in this life. As much as I do flip and buy and talk to all these projects, what does the future look like for you? What do you want to be known as? Do you want to work with a Web 2 company integrated with Web 3? Because there's a good friend of mine named Ben Noble. He's writing an article right now. He has a big publication, and he says there's no such thing as influencers. There's only content creators and business professionals. That whole influencer thing has been tainted, and it's going to be controversial, but there's content creators, those that create content. And Ben Noble just went in the building. What's up, Ben? Sorry, I'm fucking botching your article that's coming out, but what is your take on influencers? Because he says there's no such thing as content creators and business professionals in this space.
So where I sit on this is, I consider myself a content creator and I consider myself a business professional. So I put myself in both of those buckets. I've never identified with being an influencer. People have called me that, and I'm like, what?
Is it cringy to you, or? I feel like
I just, for me,
there's no merit behind it anymore. It's just.
Well, for me, an influencer is someone who sells or promotes someone else's products. I've never done that before. So I'm like, how am I an influencer? I've never sold anybody else's products or promoted other products. Yes, I have sold and promoted my own products, but that puts me in the business professional category. Yeah. I also am a content creator. So where I see myself going next and what it is that I'm working on and up to is continuing to create content and continuing to share business advice and nuggets. One of the things that I've been looking at over the last year is, what are some common threads that are happening in regards to conversations in the Web3 space? Are there any problems that I can help solve? And something that I identified was that most people are overwhelmed, they're not setting boundaries, and they're not managing their time properly. So over the last few months, my team and I have been developing a time management tool that will help people in balancing their lives properly. And the beta test of that starts next week on Monday, August 1st. And the way that I'm holding space for the beta test is through a 30-day challenge called the Inward and Outward Expansion Experience. So the inward part of this 30-day challenge is where participants are going to be using this time management tool so that they can plan out their days, their weeks. They're also able to look at what worked in their lives, what didn't work in their lives, what they need to recalibrate and adjust. And then the outward expansion portion of this challenge comes from the space of another thread of conversation that people have in the Web3 spaces. I want to make a massive impact. Well, I also want to make a massive impact too. I want to empower 1 billion people to transform their lives. So what's one of the ways that I can do that? Well, TikTok is one of the ways that I can empower people. So I've been going deep the last couple of weeks of how to grow my account on TikTok. I'm currently at about 16,000, and I would like to have more presence on TikTok. So one of the creators that I saw on TikTok that grew her account over 100,000 in like 30 days, her name's Felicia for the win. Everyone go check her out. She grew her account by posting 10 times a day for 30 days straight on TikTok. And then she analyzed the data behind that, and she was able to see what was working and what wasn't working. Yeah, that's extreme. 10 TikToks a day for 30 days. I said, sign me up, let's do this. So in the inward and outward expansion experience, two-part challenge, we're going to be going inward by using the time management tool that my team and I created that's in beta test. And then we're also going to be posting on TikTok 10 times a day for 30 days straight. And what my long-term thoughts are with the time management tool is, does this become an app? Does this become a use to earn situation? That's what I'm looking at long road here. But before I make those decisions, I've got to get about 100 beta testers through this, so that I can get the data from them about what they liked, what they didn't like, what direction they would want me to take it in, because I'm also all about community and audience-driven feedback in regards to product creation.
Let's fucking go. That's fucking dope. Holy smokes. Guys, make sure you, yeah, that's definitely APO. Ben Noble says, bam. Orphan's Addict says, Ben is denying my existence. Sorry, Orphan, you're a super influencer. Cringy. Alpha Kings and Queens only. Tell Tony Bravado says, tell her Diamond Doll and I said, what's up? Shout out to you, Tone, from Muscle the Dojo. Deskio, what's up? Most people won't take the time to create content enough to get a baseline. Props. Most, yeah, Benjamin Noble says most people won't take the time. It's simple. You put the time in. I say that consistency is the backbone of success. So we have to be consistent here, but we also have to be intentional and loving to our community. I run something called the Dojo. Does your community have its own unique, funny name, cool name?
I always say, like, what up freedom with NFT fam. Some people like to say, like, what up freedom seekers.
Nice. Have you been taking touching grass, taking vacations? You are in a beautiful tropical place. I live in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. I've been full-time here since December. And even before I was here in Cabo, I started to realize last year that I wasn't touching grass enough. Because again, I went down that rabbit hole when I found out about NFTs. And then I moved to Cabo and I kind of fell into that same pattern where I was like, what are you doing? You're not going outside enough. So over the last like 6 months or so, I've really set strict boundaries with how much time I'm online, how much I'm connecting with people. A system that I put in place to help aid in all of this is I get a lot of inquiries for connection calls. And so what I started to do was say, I host one Twitter space a week. It's called NFT Gold. I co-host that with Dr. Peace Uche, AKA Doc Peace. It's every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I also go live in my Discord community at 1 p.m. every Wednesday. And so when I get the inbounds of, hey, I'd love to have a connection call with you, I'll say, hey, I'd love to connect with you too. I show up in these two formats twice a week, community calls, let's connect there. And what's interesting is, thank you. From there though, I'm able to tell who's serious and who's not serious. And there's people that show up every week. And then from there, if they need additional support or additional help, I'm happy to get on a quick call with them because they're a community member of mine. Like they're showing up and I'm like, okay, dope. You're showing up, now I can show up for you. And so that's been a really great way for me to like set boundaries in this space because again, we're here for the long haul. If we're just spreading our energy too thin and we're leaking around everywhere, we're gonna get burnt out. So we need to make sure to have these boundaries and set these systems in place so that we can protect ourselves. Yeah, I need you to infiltrate the Met Gala next year with your fashion sense and just literally dominate. They were throwing some NFT jokes in the Oscars. You can tell that the world is waking up slowly, but it'll be cool to see you in the Met Gala. I know they only can do a +1, so I feel like I'll see you there just like interviewing somebody.
Thank you. You know what? Let's set an intention that is going to happen because when we set these intentions and we speak it into existence, then we can actually start working towards it. So that gives me a good goal right there of like, all right, let's work towards that. Let's figure it out.
For sure.
Thank you.
I wanted to say too, when it comes down to the future, I want to give some futurism from you. You know, AI is coming around the corner with blockchain technology to aggregate data, to funnel in cyber, to help cybersecurity, but also to build metaverses in a speedy, fast landscape fast as well, using Unreal Engine, using all these different pieces of technology. Are you what do you see AI in the community sector for what you're doing? How can AI benefit your community and what you're building for the future?
So first I want to say, for anyone that might be listening to this and they might be newer to the space and that might kind of freak them out, is technology can be good, technology can be bad. So I definitely look at things that are progressing and happening in the space from the lens of, let's use this for the good and let's figure out that we can help people. One of the things that I've been trying to figure out is, how do I, as a brand that has a podcast, I am a public speaker, I am a content creator, how can I best leverage and show up in the metaverse? So that's something that I've been exploring recently is, okay, how can I best show up in the metaverse? What does this look like for me? What am I comfortable with? How can I onboard other people into what's happening in the metaverse? So that's definitely something that I'm exploring and figuring out. I think it's incredible that we're in this space as early as we are with all of the things that we know and the people that we're connecting with. And we are creating content right now, which something for everyone to remember is, when this all becomes mainstream in X amount of years and people are Googling NFTs, metaverse, DeFi, everything that they're Googling, we're going to be the people that show up and we're going to be the people that they look to. That's absolutely incredible to think about. So with all that being said, right now I'm exploring and looking at things again from the long term of, how do I want to show up and how do I want to be in this new world that we're creating? So I would say I'm in the exploratory phase.
Well, Supermassive, I interviewed him from the Defiant. He says he wants to turn himself into an avatar using Unreal Engine and have dialogue with his natural, human self in a kind of devil advocate opposite way to figure out ideas. I think that you would have to have a certain type of mind for that. That seems Tim Burton-ish, but I could definitely see you as an avatar helping the metaverse in a sense.
I would love that. One of the things that I love about the metaverse is how we can provide experiences for people who otherwise can't experience things in the real world. And what I always think about is, there's a young lady named Nandita that I mentor and sponsor. She's located in southern India. When she was 8 years old, a virus attacked her spine, leaving her in her bed for many, many years. And over the last few years, she learned how to reuse her limbs. I'm connected with her because I volunteer for a nonprofit in the US that supports an orphanage in southern India. And a few years ago, when I was in India checking in on the projects that we fund and manage, I met Nandita, and we've been able to keep touch over the years. And I look at what NFTs bring to artists in regards to opportunities, what the metaverse can bring to people who might not be able to leave their homes. It's absolutely incredible how we can impact lives with this technology.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sergio says, ask Lauren anything Avatar. Love it. Ask anything. I think you'll probably have a diplomatic approach. I don't know how much you care about diplomacy or governance inside this world that we're building, but the faces that people will Google in 5 years, I hope that we have done the space justice, and we didn't use our crowd as exit liquidity on anything, so it's important that you stay consistent. I have a lot of ideas. I'm pretty sure you do have a lot of ideas, and I'm looking forward to seeing you win for sure.
Thank you, and you too. It's been so awesome to be able to connect today and chop it up about what I have going on, what you have going on, what the audience has going on. Yeah. We've all got a lot going on.
Dude, we got a lot going on, and it's only beginning. And I'm so happy you said yes to the show. I interviewed Spotty Wi-Fi as well. I found that fascinating, that you don't need a big fan base. You can do it with 1,000 loyal fans. That's a great model that you see that G Money is doing right now, extrapolating his core fan base. Because you could really move markets like that. You can really not move markets in the sense of influence and ideas and cool things like that. I know you do have to roll soon.
No, I was just gonna say it goes back to what we were saying earlier about like influencers, content creators, people in the business space. Like we're truly shifting and changing what has been existing for so long now, and it's gonna be incredible to see 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we're going to look back at spotty Wi-Fi and be like, dang, he did that back in like 2020. That was wild. And look how far he's come now. Same with you, same with me, same with everyone who's in the live right now. We're going to look back and be like, that was lit. We came out of a pandemic and we were like, NFTs.
Oh, yes, for sure. And I know they got this monkeypox thing, so I'm not trying to go back in a pandemic. I'm trying to really go crazy right now.
Me too, same.
For sure. This is the part of the show, Lauren, where I do give you the gong. The gong is the truth. So once you hear the gong, you gotta speak your truth. You can marry somebody. You can shill any project you want. You can say a motivational word. But I'm going to give you the gong right now, and you have the floor. Hold on 1 second. Here's the gong. And thanks for stopping by the dojo.
Please connect with me on Twitter. My handle is @LaurenTurton _ LAURENTURTON _. In the link in my bio, click and you'll find the information for the inward and outward expansion experience. I would love for everyone to join this 30-day challenge of going inward and going outward. But don't worry, if you're overwhelmed with the going outward part, I've broken it up into 2 parts and you can participate in one or both. And thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor to connect with you further and with everyone who's on the live and catching the replay.
For sure. Orphan says I have nothing going on. You do have something going on, dude. Just sign up for Lauren Turton's thing. Duh, easy. I actually have your Twitter in the stream right here. So guys, hit the link in the description. Please follow her. That will mean a lot to the dojo. And I got some training to do. Lauren, thank you so much. I will be following your journey, hitting the notification bell, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Guys, live the dream, eat ice cream, and above all, stay content. Later. Peace.